Come on in, take a seat as we journey, let's seek. I'm super excited that you have decided to come along this season's journey with me. Welcome, I'm Watchman Tab. You are now engaging with the Seek podcast, where we seek God, seek His wisdom, and seek Him in prayer for our victorious journey. Let's go. Matthew 10:40-42. This is the King James Version. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water, only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward. More than often, we only hear verse 41 of this scripture. But if we really get into our Bibles and read it in context, it shows us that he who receives any disciple of Jesus Christ, even down to just a glass of water for the baby, Jesus takes notice and rewards. In our world, men have become lovers of themselves, and rejection is more evident than any kind of acceptance. If you are listening to this, I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for receiving me as I obey. I pray that you will be rewarded. Matter of fact, let me encourage you today. Nothing is by coincidence. Everything happens for a reason, especially if you are actively seeking God, seeking God's wisdom, and seeking God in prayer. You are on purpose and more on time than you think. I just celebrated a milestone birthday. I'm a little weird. I don't want everybody to be celebrating with me, but God is dealing with me about that. But as I reflected on my life's journey, regret was the first thing that tried to creep in. Feeling as though I should be like further along than I am. But then Abba started to walk me through seasons of my life when I was not even standing. I started thinking about that poem Footprints, where the man had a dream where he was walking on the beach with the Lord and he was being shown different scenes of his life. And when he looked back and he only discovered one set of footprints in the sand, he asked the Lord, like, hey, what's up? Did you leave me? And the Lord replied, this is the time when you have seen only one set of footprints, my child, is when I carried you. I think that if I had a footprints poem as I was reflecting upon my life in this season, I would see one set of footprints in probably a trench or a small ravine. Some places it would be narrow, some wide, and some even deep. And I wouldn't even ask the Lord because I know the type of life I've lived. But I think his reply would be, I carried you when necessary, but sometimes I had to drink you. Not because you didn't want to go, even though there are times you didn't want to go, but because you didn't know everything to where you were going, or you were afraid. But the Holy Spirit that was inside of you, Tab, kept saying yes. So we kept going, walking, crawling, and dragging. It's definitely because of the Lord's mercy that I am not consumed. I can laugh at it. You can laugh at it with me too. Lamentations 3:19-24 of the Message version, the Hood version, says it like this. I'll never forget the trouble, the utter lostness, the taste of ashes, the poison I've swallowed. I remember it all. Oh, how well I remember the feeling of hitting the bottom. But there's one thing that I remember, and I keep remembering, that I kept a grip on hold. So I just think about like the Lord dragging me, but I was still holding on because He's my hope. He is my hope. It continues to read, God's loyal love couldn't have run out. His merciful love couldn't have dried up. They're created anew every morning. How great your faithfulness. I'm sticking with God. I say it over and over. He's all I've got left. That's Lamentations 3:19-24 of the Hood Message version. Good stuff. I remember a time that I had actually woke up in Shawnee Mission Medical Center's emergency room. And only by the God's grace that I was not committed to the inpatient mental institution. But because my mother came and at her word, I committed to outpatient, and which I had to sign myself in and out. So 3 days later, I came to the window of the community room, and after I had signed myself in, and I just sat there and I asked the Lord, like, why am I here? The room, it started filling with people. Some was coming in like me in regular everyday clothes. Others were coming through this locked door in hospital gowns. And no lie, I was like, why am I here? What's up? No answer actually came to me until like the third week. And I sat in this same seat, which is by a window. But this particular day, when I looked out the window, I actually noticed that there was this tree. So we were on the third floor. So the tree stood tall and it was full, it was green, and it was beautiful. And every day that I would sign myself in, I would go and sit next to the window and I would watch this tree as the counselors and the psychiatrists took turns coming into the room to speak to us about ways and methods that we could ultimately feel better in our minds. So one method that they suggested was guided meditation and breathing. And so I decided that's the session I'm going to take. So they gathered those particular people and we was led to another room. And in this room, only the light from the sun shined in. And we were surrounded by sounds of waves and oceans. And there was pillows and mats and beanbag chairs on the floor scattered all about. I found myself by the window, stretched out on a mat, flat on the floor. As I breathed in deeply, holding and releasing through my mouth until my belly pushed out, that's a technique I learned, I noticed the tree was at another angle. Like this side that I was looking at this tree, it wasn't so full. It didn't look so strong. It wasn't even as green as the other side. It swayed as if it was going to topple or break at the hands of the wind, and it had all kind of leaves falling out and branches were exposed. So I closed my eyes and I relaxed at the sound of the ocean waves crashing upon the shore. That's why I like the beach, low key. I envisioned the tree, but this time I could see the tree with my eyes closed. I could see the tree from top to bottom, and it was swaying and it was exposed on one side, but I could also see the other side where it was full and it was robust. It stretched tall at its base. It was rooted and it was grounded, and all around it was the ocean. I took a deep, deep breath and I held it in. Maybe a little too long. But as I slowly released and I'm envisioning the tree, Abba released my answer. I heard him say, although the tree stands tall and green, it also sways and it's also exposed. It is still the tree no matter what, no matter the wind's forces. Yes, it sways, but it doesn't break. Yes, it leaves falls off, but only so that more can grow. Some branches may seem brittle, but they are still connected. All of this is the tree, still rooted and grounded, still planted by the rivers of water, and it will bear new leaves in due season. It's free to flow and move while the winds blow, but it does not break. It's free to stretch tall to the sky as much as it can, but it is still deeply, deeply rooted and stabilized in the ground, connected to its life source, which is the water. So just like this tree, my child, you can be. As seasons of life come and winds blow, you, my friend, may sway, you may flow. We have days of loss and we have days of exposure, but as long as we stay rooted and grounded in God at all times, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. Just as long as you are not okay connected to the one that can make everything okay. Connected to the life source, Jesus, the water that never runs dry. It is because of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed. Since that time, I have always had like this great viewpoint of a tree. I'm so serious, y'all. I'm gonna probably upload some pictures. Whenever I transition to a new location, I have always had a great vantage point of a tree. And I know that it is the Lord reminding me that healing is an ongoing process. And it's okay. Because as long as life is lifing, Jesus' stripes are healing. Let me say that again for the people in the bed. Let me say that again for the people at Shawnee Mission, outpatient, inpatient. Let me say that for anybody that's struggling right now with life. As long as life is lifing, Jesus' stripes are healing. Glory be to God. Fall is a season when the trees remind us of how we need to let go so that we can grow. The cover of my first book of poetry, it's called Seasons. It had the most amazing tree that I and my then publisher, we searched for it so meticulously because we wanted it to reflect the content that was inside. You know, winter, spring, summer, fall, all of that. But in that particular season, I had to learn to let go. Like, seriously. Like, after we completed the final draft, it was ready to upload so the actual book could be created. My then publisher went silent, and I was not okay. I was about to give up. Like, I felt like they had dropped my baby. I felt like I had birthed a baby and the nurse on the delivery room floor dropped my baby. That's how I feel. But that was a time for sure I feel like Abba dragged me through, because I was like, okay, well, maybe I ain't supposed to do this. It's just enough. And I didn't even know what to do next. Actually, I didn't even know how to get the book. I was counting on the publisher to get the book to creation. I was like, I wrote the words, I did the yes and the no's of the, all of that. I was about to give up, y'all. I digress. Because God spoke to my heart. And through his disciples, they encouraged me. The ones that we received their reward. And I received their words of encouragement. And I received the reward that came with them. And one night, one of those disciples, because I had received their encouragement, had me sit at their kitchen table. It was like, just come over, spend the night. We gonna get this done. And guess what? We self-published my book. I cried. They cried. And God was glorified. So my third title, which is Take Your Sword, it has been born. We back in the delivery room. But I am so excited to share it with you this October, because not only did I birth it, but I was on the other side to catch it. And I have a great team of people around me in this season that will cover it. So I want you to stay connected and be encouraged to know this, that you are on purpose and more on time than you think. Stay connected. Stay rooted and grounded to the life giver. But when he says so, let go of those leaves so that you can grow. Be blessed. So thank you for coming in and taking a seat. As we journey together, let's continue to seek God, seek his wisdom, seek him in prayer for our victorious journey. Yes, you and me, or you and I, let's just do this together. Subscribe, connect, share. You have a blessed day.